probably the biggest fight in British boxing history. It's fair to say Anthony Joshua versus Daniel Dubois.
Yeah, it's really exciting to see Riyadh Season come in here and bring these promoters together and bring in 2 of the 4 best heavyweights in the world for the IBF title. I guess if we want to look at it like a long overview, there's a possibility that a year from now we might have 2 British fighters fighting for the undisputed title. But this is since the IBF pulled their title away and we don't have undisputed with Usyk, the rematch is coming up with Tyson Fury. The winner of this fight is going to be on a fast track to unify that division again. So there's a lot riding on. It's going to be a night of history. 96,000 fans at Wembley. Just one of the greatest venues in the world for sports and entertainment. But this will be the record attendance for boxing.
What do you make of it as a matchup stylistically? Both have incredible knockout power.
Yeah.
And Daniel has really come out of his shell in the build-up to this one. He showed absolutely no fear. He wanted to go there and then with Anthony at the face-off, and he's shown again today he's all about business.
Yeah, you made a really good point there. Daniel, people have said, and I've probably said it myself, he's usually a slow starter. He's got a great jab, he's got good boxing skills, and definitely has power. This is power versus power. So he's going to have to, AJ's definitely going to come out slugging right away, there's no doubt about that. And I don't see this fight going past 4 or 5 rounds. And I have no idea who's going to win, believe me.
And in terms of, it's like an unofficial 4-man tournament to the undisputed title, which is incredible. Probably, in my belief, I think it's the best time to be a fight fan ever. When you mentioned about Turkey bringing all the promoters together, we're getting these mega Riyadh Season events where every fight on the card could headline a show on its own.
Oh, you're so right. That's exactly what it is. All of these events that they've done so far, His Excellency and Riyadh Season, is every fight could be a televised fight. Not necessarily pay-per-view, but every fight is worth seeing. And we had some, like the fights in Los Angeles, the young man from Africa. Where did this guy come from? But people were telling me before the fight, said, yeah, you better look out, this guy's pretty good. And he showed up, and I remember watching it in my dressing room, and I said to my wife, I said, gee, I don't know about this guy. And then all of a sudden he started throwing this beautiful jab and he's setting up his right hand, combinations. He's a hell of a fighter. I mean, he's going to be in the mix.
100%. And obviously you have a wealth of boxing knowledge. You've been there at some of the biggest fights of all time. What would you say are your 3 favorite fights of all time just as a fight fan?
Right here in Wembley, AJ and Klitschko, where Klitschko almost won by a knockout victory and dropped AJ and he came back. A great fight for fans that are fight fans that really like to go back a bit. Roberto Duran, when he won the middleweight title over Iran Barkley, way back in 1989, one of the best fights I ever saw. And a fight that wasn't a great fight, but it was a great moment for excitement, was when George Foreman, in his second career at the age of 44 or 45, knocked out Michael Moore to become heavyweight champion. That moment was so exciting. The fight was horrible, but the moment is what makes you a fight fan.
In terms of that 4-man tournament we mentioned, Fury, Usyk, Joshua and Dubois, the winner of that, when they become undisputed, where would you rank them as the greatest heavyweight of all time? Where would you rank them in terms of that conversation?
It depends on what they do in the next couple of years. I mean, to really, add it up. Fury and Usyk both are in their middle, starting into their late 30s. So, maybe their best years are already behind them, and they've shown us a lot. Joshua's only 31. Dubois, he's a baby in the group. He's 26. It's wide open. You're asking to predict the future, and I can't do that.
But
yeah, and we've had some really great champions in our lifetime, including your lifetime. Yeah. With Tyson and Lennox, and in their prime, at their best years. Evander Holyfield, one of the all-time greats. So let's just see what this generation has.
What are top 3 dream fights that you think could be possible in the next few years? That you'd love to see.
Yeah, I can't think of the name right now. There's a super middleweight that Canelo really should fight. I can't think of his name. Exactly, yeah. That'd be a great fight. I want to see what happens in this, as you put it, this heavyweight tournament. You know, it's going to happen. We have Bivol and Viterbiev coming up, you know, in what, 4 weeks, 3 weeks? And the great fights are out there. And like you said, His Excellency is putting this stuff together. It's a fight fan's dream to be able to, like almost every month, every other month, look at a card of boxing and go, wow, you know, that was pretty damn good.
Last two now. I want to know your thoughts on Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson as well. It must be tough for you to see that fight get made because you were a part of some of Mike Tyson's greatest moments. Do you want to see him come back, or do you think it's a bad move? He's going to make his own decisions, isn't he?
Yeah, you know, Mike right now is a guy that's happy in his own skin. He feels good. He's 50-something, and this might not be the best thing for him. I think it's going to be 2-minute rounds. He still looks like a guy that if he hits you, he can knock you out.
Yeah.
And Jake Paul has, while he hasn't, like, you know, cracked the top 10 of boxing, maybe he actually has as a cruiserweight. He's shown he's a great athlete, and he's got like a will to win. He really, like, you know, he fights to win. He doesn't go there to play games. So it's going to be an interesting fight. I don't know if it's. I have no idea. I can't really comment on it. I just hope nobody gets hurt. I love both guys. I've known Mike since he was 19 years old, so we go back quite a ways. So let's just see what happens. I will be in Riyadh for the next night. Is going to be, you know, the light heavyweight championship.
Final one from me.
Undisputed light heavyweight championship.
100%. Final one from me. Obviously, when you were starting out in your career in boxing, the UFC and
I
MMA.
can't remember back that far. Okay.
The UFC and MMA wasn't even a thing, and then to see your half brother Bruce go on to achieve what he's achieved, and you guys at the top of combat sports together.
The interesting thing about UFC, I actually did like 3 of the first half dozen UFC events. And at the time, I had a contract with WCW Wrestling.
Oh wow, yeah.
And so they felt like that was, you know, sort of like a competitive thing. And I said, oh, okay. I was, you know, wrestling back in the '90s, was making a lot of money, and so was I. So I was very happy to make that choice. And then the time came for my brother Bruce to step up. He would do undercard fights for me, and he, you know, he had a natural gift for being very bombastic and exciting, which was just perfect for UFC, and he's a superstar.
Amazing. I really appreciate your time. A true legend of the game.